Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the monthly report for February 2025 that just dropped a few minutes ago. I have not read this at all previously, so we're just going to go through it, discuss a few things, and see what new stuff we have in this report. So let's get into it. Okay, so the front page has a little picture of the depots for the supplier die event, and let's go ahead and get into reading. Welcome to February's PU Monthly Report. Read on for all the latest updates from the developers working on the Persistent Universe, including the AI, core gameplay, narrative, missions, tech design, and UI teams. AI content. AI content continued updating the broken air traffic controller behavior throughout the main landing zones, with fixes entering the QATR process for validation, stress testing, and to ensure they don't break other areas of the game. Once successful, the team will begin scheduling it for inclusion in an upcoming patch. Looking forward to that. Some uniqueness to the different landing zones, so looks like it's being worked on, and then, hey, once they get it ready, they'll get it in. The devs also worked with the design, environment, and economy teams to iterate on a new character prototype. This included a performance capture session to record new lines. Updates then continued on Grimhex to match the behavior reworks done on Stanton's other landing zones. I don't know entirely what that means, but I'm all for places getting updated. Grimhex getting a little bit of an update, getting a new character. I wonder if this is maybe alluding to the mission giver, potentially, at least for like the recording of lines thing. In new initiatives, the team began looking into improvements to the dogfighting experience based on discussions with the design and mission teams. AI tech also tackled a handful of bugs logged by other teams and picked up from general playthroughs. Interesting. So AI for ships might change too. Made some improvements to dogfighting. I don't know. I'm all for that as well. Because right now the AI are kind of hit and miss. Sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge, and sometimes they're just brain dead. So that'll be cool. Okay, next we have AI features. Last month, AI features improved and polished creature behaviors. New technology from AI tech was added to close range and melee attacks, as used by the Copian and Quasi-Grazer, to make them more reactive to moving targets. Rather than stopping or starting locomotion to begin, the attack is considered part of the locomotion request, allowing the creature to react at any point during locomotion or resume locomotion without delay if the target moves. For human AI, the team made a variety of improvements. For example, time was spent on first reaction flow escalation, giving players direct feedback on an enemy's awareness state so they can sneak past. This was supported by new callbacks to the mission functionality to allow the designers to script specific level scenarios when an enemy is spotted, such as when radioing for backup. Interesting. On top of this, various smaller bug fixes and improvements were made, which will reach the verse soon. For example, accuracy scaling will now start from the beginning of combat rather than when the player is seen to give more grace time. Aimed at perception was improved, which is used for detecting when an enemy is aiming at civilians, while new functionality was added so that background assignments only influence behaviors rather than completely change them. Issues were fixed with overzealous vehicle-based friendly fire, which prevented NPCs from firing when friendly vehicles were close by, and pre-combat attack area behaviors, including the AI not moving to the area and not attacking. Additions were made to subsumption behavior scripting to allow parallel nodes to terminate when ready, rather than being forced to terminate. This is useful in situations where the designers don't want to force an animation to quit until the correct point. Updates were also made to the AI state machine to give better control over how to transition between states. That section's a little bit more of, I don't know, kind of technical jargon, but basically AI's hopefully getting better. That's always the hope. And getting more fluid, more natural, stuff like that. Okay, next section, AI Game Intelligence Development Team. This one, I think, is usually a little bit more of a technical section, so we'll skim through it a little bit, but might not spend too much time on this one. In February, the Game Intelligence Development Team continued to fix StarScript crashes reported by the designers and QA testers due to the increasing number of users. The main priority is to stabilize the tool as quickly as possible. The team also began analyzing the mission system refactor in preparation for a summit held in the Manchester studio. Interesting. Topics include the declarative model, tag system, and the self-validation tool. The implementation of views into StarScript 1.7 mentioned in last month's report continued too. Elsewhere, they continued exploring various designs to more clearly display some different things. I mean, this may be some stuff on like the back end and whatnot. Some new things are created to simplify the meaning of each state. They also began implementing some more stuff into StarScript. So again, kind of a technical section. I don't entirely understand what all of that means, but maybe some of you will. Next, we have AI Tech. Last month, the AI Tech team progressed with work that will allow them to voxelize huge areas for 3D navigation. This will be used to create paths for AI ships and EVAing NPCs. Ooh, we have not seen EVAing NPCs yet. I wonder if that'll be something that we get with the new space combat missions. That would be cool. Planetary navigation mesh was extended to receive further information about tall buildings and to give a more efficient evaluation of the terrain altitude while keeping track of manually placed object containers. The system is to generate navigation for multiple agent types based on those present in the world, such as different sized creatures and vehicles, was also extended. February saw the team finalize the first steps of the spatial priority solver system, which will organize and order the different types of requests that need to be solved. For example, pathfinder and navigation generation requests. A lot of time was also dedicated to adding improved views and functionality to the subsumption tool. Animation. Animation progressed for creatures such as new movement for the Copian to give it more ability to traverse its environment. They also worked on facial animations for an upcoming release. I can only assume that that is probably the mission giver that we're getting in 4.1. Art characters. Was there not? Ah, darn it. There's no ship art section. That's the second one we had no ship art section. What? I don't know. Maybe they just want to keep everything really, really secret or something. I'm not sure. Art characters. In February, the character team kicked off a new creature, continued to work through Starware art debt, and progressed with 2 new stealth armors. The concept art team explored ideas for in-game rewards and new armors. Nice. I'm looking forward to the new armors and all that sort of things, and whatever this new creature is. Sounds like it says they just kicked it off, so that'll probably be a little while before we see that still. But more armors and having them be rewards in-game, I'm all for that as well. The community section usually goes over nothing too crazy, so we'll probably just skip that section. Yeah, not too much. Core gameplay. Oh boy, let's see if this section is bigger this month. Okay, in February, the core gameplay team, one of the primary drivers behind the Stability and Quality of Life initiative, continued fixing numerous bugs. Elsewhere, they supported upcoming content with smaller features to assist in the creation of missions, sandbox gameplay, and storytelling. February concluded many of 2025's planning tasks that will ensure the team correctly balances the need for bug fixing, quality of life updates, content support, and feature development. Last month, the core gameplay team implemented minor misfires for rapid-fire FPS weapons. Interesting. Is that in the game right now? Has anyone noticed that? For rapid-fire FPS weapons if they've misfired? This includes a setting that allows the designers to control the duration of the delay until the weapon continues shooting. I have not seen that yet. If any of you have, let me know in the comments, though. That's interesting. Maybe that's coming in 4.1 or something. I'm not sure. General cooldowns were also added for minor and major misfires to control how much time must pass after a misfire before another of the same severity can happen. Planning was done towards a misfire system for ship components to unify the systems and avoid tech debt. The primary use case for this is engineering gameplay. Overheat animations were added or improved for some Volt weapons, while integrated code changes were added to unblock downstream dependencies. For engineering gameplay, the team added panels to the engineering screen to show critical information when items are selected. They also adjusted presets to enable UI pop-ups and reduce duplication and fixed various issues with presets in screen UI. Okay, so they're still working on engineering. It's being worked on by Resource Network. Interesting. Improvements were made to the Resource Network debug tools and item port localization setup to prevent errors. Various player-facing issues causing the Resource Network to not behave as players expected were fixed, while the coolant effectiveness calculation for items was updated. Progress was made on base build. No way. They're mentioning it a lot. Okay. Progress was made on base building, with the devs identifying and fixing various bugs, particularly in the client-server flow. Validation for buildings placed on land claims began, and localization strings were implemented. That's huge. Regarding crafting, the core feature is now playable using the developer UI, including the use of blueprints, variable material quality, crafting timers, and resource-dependent item stats. A basic queue to craft multiple items at once was added too, so it's usable. That means it's pretty well worked on. Like it's pretty well put together, it sounds like. Elsewhere, the team implemented basic AR marker grouping logic to reduce the amount of UI clutter in various situations. This is currently disabled internally, but available for design to validate edge cases. A strike team was formed to deal with underlying issues affecting the transit system, while another continued with the ongoing refactor toward the new transport system. Okay. So I think that might be like they had the team that was trying to figure out some kind of band-aid fixes for the moment with all the elevator issues and other things like that. But it sounds like they're, again, completely redoing this, and now they're calling it the transport system so that that can work with everything that it needs to. So that's good to hear. As part of this, a new suite of debugging tools was created to identify the root causes of transit carriage and transit manager issues. The team then addressed multiple issues causing carriages to get stuck, and the manager failing to correctly orchestrate transit schedules. With support from QA, more instances were uncovered, investigated, and fixed. The team is still working through a prioritized list of issues, and have added mitigating factors to help self-repair aspects of the system where possible. Cool. The core gameplay team is currently investigating poor performance in Pyro, which is caused by entities ending up at the center of the system, and dealing with issues with NPC loadouts, failing attachments, and object container setup. The core gameplay team made numerous tech debt, performance, and quality of life updates. For example, failure positions now works consistently. The entrance UI no longer suddenly disappears, and control hints were improved. The application of distortion damage to jump drives was made more consistent. Some per update hacks were replaced with proper implementation, and tunnel generation code was optimized. It now loops once over each spline point, which requires less caching. This is a little bit more technical stuff here, this section, this part. Various crashes were fixed, and performance gains of up to 4 milliseconds per frame were achieved. Elsewhere, the team continued the initiative to improve the flight model and intelligent flight control system. Okay. This will include many mechanical, balancing, and visual changes to improve the overall feel of flight. These will not immediately be implemented for the next Star Citizen release, but experimented with and iterated on internally until we feel they're ready for feedback. This involved adding jerk to IFCS to improve the overall feel of flight and smooth out all forces. A retuning past various ship classes to account for the changes to the flight model was done too. Extra G-force effects based on speed, not just acceleration, were added. While this doesn't impact gameplay, it adds an extra layer of immersion, for example, via additional camera effects. Different velocity limits per axis were implemented. Now, IFCS uses goal time to max velocity with acceleration in that axis to define the velocity limit. This means, for now, velocity limit shape is defined by acceleration limit. Okay, so sounds like Master Modes is going to be what, like Master Modes 2 or something, whenever they get this in. Variable velocity limits per power assignment were added. Now, assigning different power changes the acceleration and, in turn, max velocity. Ooh, so that'll be interesting. Because that's going to change a lot of, like, you only have one little block to your engines. You're not going to be as maneuverable. So if you want to be more maneuverable, you got to put more power to your engines. So that would be like, for example, in the Guardian has like 10 power pips for the engines. Everyone's like, why would it need that many? Well, maybe once this is in, it'll be just crazy maneuverable for a heavy fighter if you're able to get, full power to engines. So that is very interesting that we're going to see that eventually here. Let's see. A prototype was designed for improvements to the proximity assist feature that limits speed-based that limits speed based on proximity to other objects instead of just vehicle acceleration. Work is ongoing to make the automatic on-off trigger work smoothly. Add a UI notification for when it's active, and activate faster when using Afterburner and or the space brake. Finally, for the flight system, a core IFCS toggle was added to allow pilots to turn off various assists and fly fully decoupled. This is being used to experiment with a heavily stripped back IFCS system. Numerous bugs were fixed through February 2. Now quantum travel no longer overshoots short distances as the pre-ramp can be cancelled early. Aiming fixes were also made, including aim assist being added to unmanned turrets, and some issues with prediction edge cases during fast movement. February saw progress on the radar and scanning feature. Work included enabling delta signature markers when detected, progress on a handheld radar jammer. Oh, interesting. And exposing more options to change the visuals for highlighting detected contacts. So a handheld radar jammer. So I wonder if that'll interfere with FPS radar or like ship radar, or I guess maybe all of it. That is interesting. I want to hear more about that. Core gameplay also began work to allow vehicle interior components to be detectable and started a minor refactor of how nearby influencing signatures are handled. Okay. They also began implementing additional hooks into the room system. This will enable the design team to define background signatures, which can make radar detection stronger or weaker. For example, heavy PvP areas may have lots of background noise, reducing the effectiveness of the radar and equalizing the playing field to some degree. Interesting, okay. Annunciators now start in the off state and correctly handle missing vehicle components. Maelstrom movement constraints progress too, which allows the devs to limit how far broken off pieces can move. The inventory UI rework progressed with new concept work. No way. Oh, if they're working on a... Oh, yes. We've needed this for so long, because that old inventory has been there for a long time. And it is so difficult to use, especially paired with the quick loot UI. It's... Ugh. So... Yes. Okay, hold on, let's read more. Okay, the inventory UI rework progressed with new concept art. So they're trying to figure out what they want to do. It's in the beginning stages. It's probably going to be a while still, but hey, any news on this is good news. This is an ongoing initiative to address many visual and user experience issues with the current inventory UI, including how players equip items on their character. A few features were updated for Arena Commander 2, such as the addition of assist scoring for crew members and AI, UI for the DNF timer, and loadout preset selection. Core Gameplay wrote various technical design documents in February, including for a new mission giver and a new mechanic to communicate mission progress via the comm calls system. The team also worked on the Supplier Die global event, including allowing cargo deliveries over the expected SCU amount. They also added support for returning excess cargo when delivering more than expected, and made sure delivery missions don't count destroyed containers. The devs also enabled the designers to hide the complete button for specific hauling contracts, such as those in Supplier Die, and investigated issues with missing mission markers. For the mission system refactor, the team fixed various issues with mission logic not proceeding and mission properties not working correctly. A variety of quality of life updates were added too. Finally, for core gameplay, the team worked on various issues affecting hangars, freight elevators, the fleet manager, and more that were exposed during Alpha 4.0 preview and Alpha 4.0.1 live. Whew, that was a big core gameplay section. We have not had one of those for a while. That was a lot. So, lots of good stuff. Lots of really good stuff in this section. Good to hear that lots of different things are being worked on. So, quality of life is happening. There's still features being worked on. New inventory UIs being worked on. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing all of this come to fruition. So, good news. Good things to read. Let's go on to the next section. Alright, next we have the mission design section. Okay, mission design focused on updating some old missions that weren't included in the recent refactor. This includes ensuring existing missions fit with the new faction's content. For example, combat missions will fall under Foxwell Enforcement. with some of the new locations from Save Stanton used as forward operating bases. Bounty contracts will also move under the Bounty Hunters Guild alongside the reintroduction of the hijacked Origin 890 jump mission. Focus was also given to the supplier die missions alongside fun content for the community. These missions will act as a test for balancing future resource gathering events. The team also began technical conversations with the ongoing prioritization of mission quality. These discussions are about how to improve the audio pipeline to get voiced missions and begin pushing higher production value events. Good. The missions right now a lot of them are very bare bones. We need more depth to these missions. So hopefully them having conversations about it can really help with that. We need yes, good CIG. Thank you. Please, more of this. So we'll let them do their thing, let them cook, and we'll see maybe what they have for us next month in that section. Narrative. A major highlight to narrative in February was the recent performance capture shoot focused on adding new narratives and characters. Thanks to ongoing refinements to the capture workflow, players should start seeing these narrative moments in the next few patches. Additionally, the team began planning and writing scripts for the next shoot with the overall goal of greatly increasing the amount of dialogue in the verse, both in and out of missions. Awesome. Another recent improvement was the new front-end loading screen for Alpha 4.0.2. Yeah, I think it looks really good. Really nice. Little graphical updates, which features an in-lore newspaper with headlines pertinent to the new content being released. For Alpha 4.0.2, the team dedicated themselves to content and bug fixing, including the new resupply missions. Additionally, further missions are in progress for the rest of the year, including new standard issue missions, special events, and more involved narrative-focused missions. Awesome. Hallelujah. More missions, more variety, please. Please give us reasons to do all of these things. Give us reasons to crew up with other people. Make them interesting. Make them rewarding. Different scenarios. You can... Please. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So, next we have online technology. So we have the online technology team began the year making tweaks and fixes to enable more in-game items to persist long-term. So I think that's things like components looted from contested zones or the executive hangar ships, the comp boards and key cards, those sort of things. I think those have been added to the long-term persistence pool, so those should stick around. For the ongoing mission system refactor, the team worked to allow missions to communicate between distributed locations. The team also started finalizing the analytics endpoint rewrite, making improvements to network error messaging to make them more descriptive. Additional optimizations were made to the territory assignment algorithm to improve robustness, while changes were made to how entities are bound over the network to lay the groundwork for use in a fully dynamic server mesh. Ooh, they're laying the groundwork for dynamic server meshing. As far as I can tell, that's what that means. Oh boy. Good. Okay. Research and development. In February, work on the new method for large-scale soft terrain shadow generation continued. I think maybe that's something for Genesis, the Genesis technology. Support was also given to the engine team, who are currently taking steps to further parallelize rendering on the CPU side. The ongoing work on ground fog rendering mentioned in last month's report was temporarily put on hold to allow the team to focus on improving gas cloud detail, rendering for a higher fidelity appearance. Tech design. In February, tech design worked closely with mission design on upcoming content, releases that players will hear more about in the future. They also prepared to set up items for scanning and began identifying what items should be scannable and what information they should reveal to the player. A major focus last month was on gameplay triggers, a system that allows the designers to easily hook into and expose pre-existing functionality. Usually this kind of work can only be done by engineers, but our code-savvy tech designers have become proficient at creating new gameplay triggers. This allows us to create new gameplay with better player-facing feedback for the content teams to use. For example, easier ways to dynamically enable VFX and SFX, and expose ways for the designers to apply effects to players within an area. Cool. UI. February saw the UI team focus on bug fixing, user experience, and vehicles. As part of this, they took an in-depth look at the upcoming social universe features shown at CitizenCon, focusing on the user experience. This involves taking the original design, working out user-friendly layouts, and ensuring interactions are well thought out and easy to use. So maybe those new social tools are being worked on too, because that would be a really big help to have as well. Because like right now, you can't even, if you're trying to find someone in the list of players in the server, you can't scroll down far enough because it doesn't let you. So if we can get those as soon as possible, that would also be great, and that would help a lot. The devs also began implementing UI for upcoming vehicles alongside concepting the final UI styles for 2 manufacturers. So there is a couple manufacturers that don't have their unique MFD styles yet. So I think RSI is one. What's another one? You guys have to let me know in the comments. I know that the ones that do have it, I know Misk has theirs, Argo has theirs, Drake has theirs, or does Origin have theirs? Actually, I think Origin may not. So it may be RSI and Origin that need that. I think Crusader needs it too, actually. I think it may have the same one, if I'm thinking correctly. So let me know if I'm getting these wrong, but I think those would be 3 that would need it. So it sounds like they're working on 2 of them though, which is nice. But they're implementing a UI for upcoming vehicles, so oh boy. Okay, and then let's see, we have the UI tech spent time beta testing an improved 2D UI renderer, as the current version is difficult to improve on and bug fix. Okay. Elsewhere, they worked on tech to support game localization and progressed with systems to allow players to navigate menus using a joystick or keyboard without a mouse. Okay, that's good. People with the controller can play a little bit easier. And then I think this is the last section, VFX. VFX spent part of February prepping for content releasing later this year. They also supported Supply or Die, cleaned up various work from Alpha 4.0.0, and progressed with an upcoming creature. And we have a screenshot of a container exploding. So that is the February 2025 monthly report. There was quite a lot in there. I'm still disappointed that we didn't get any ship section. That's 2 monthly reports. We've gotten nothing. So maybe they just are being super secretive or something. I don't know. But lots in the core gameplay section. A lot of things that are being worked on. A lot of changes. Lots of good stuff that seems to be coming down the pipeline slowly, as well as fixing the game, fixing stability, everything like that. So, wow. Quite a bit. You might this might take another couple of reads and thinking about stuff to try and fully figure this out. I might have to do a couple of separate videos talking about some specific parts of this and go a little bit more into detail about kind of what maybe we'll get, what maybe we're looking for and stuff like that. But that is the monthly report for this month, this past month. So if you enjoyed this breakdown and discussion of it, please just let me know in the comments what you thought of it, and make sure to leave a like and a subscribe, as it really helps my channel. And I will see you in the next one, probably for the Star Citizen Live that we are going to be getting tomorrow. Peace.